Welcome to the Salty Bulldog, the podcast that is struggling to come to terms with the bitter coldness that is taking over Melbourne this week. I'm Matthew Donald and I have Nick Galea sitting opposite me. Welcome, Nicholas.
Hello, Matt. How are you?
I'm well. It's back. The weather's back. Don't know if you've noticed.
Unfortunately, it is.
A bit cold last couple of days, actually.
And a bit more consistent, too. We can actually expect it for the better part of the day, not 4 seasons in the one day.
Oh, good. Oh, well, maybe not good, because I wouldn't mind a touch of summer today.
No.
How have you been?
Happy so far. Enjoying the internships galore. That's it, yes.
It's good that you're happy. I've got some bad news because it's just going to get a lot worse for the next 40 minutes or so.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, because we've got a lot of negative stuff to talk about this weekend. It's not been a great.
Oh, I thought you were talking about yourself for a second, so you're all clear. That's positive.
Yeah,
that's good.
I'm feeling great.
Wonderful.
I'm feeling great. On top of the world.
Yes.
Sort of.
Now to the more important stuff.
To the more important stuff. The football. Our weekend.
Mystically optical and all these other things, yes.
Our weekend, just as a whole, was a very interesting one, wasn't it?
I enjoyed it. It was good.
Good?
It's good to get away for a little bit, actually.
So, yeah, we went
for different reasons.
We went to Sydney Saturday. Well, I went to Sydney Saturday morning. You went to Sydney Friday night.
Yes, caught a coach up there. A lovely 11-hour bus ride, and arrived at the airport, 6:30 in the morning.
You're mad.
I'm cheap.
You're mad.
That was solid. It was good.
Yeah,
nothing like
you're
Macca's
mad.
at 2:30 in the morning. It's where were we? Not Albury. Yas.
Yes. I believe it's not Yas. It's Yas.
Don't worry. Yas is a terminology for another group of friends of mine. We enjoy that word a lot.
I see.
So it is Yas for us.
Okay, Yas for you. Yes for the people that live there.
Pretty much everyone else.
How was it? The coach ride.
The first 6 hours were wonderful. The latter 6 hours were miserable due to not being able to sleep after 11, and then I think I fell asleep at about 4:30.
And then you end up at the airport.
Yep, that was good. And then we were awake for the next 24 hours, another 20 hours on top of that, catching up with you guys and a few others.
Yes, it was a funny old weekend. So we went there on Saturday, watched the soccer, the A-League.
Wasn't able to watch the footy for the Tigers and the Giants, which another couple of friends of ours went to.
Former, I say former, but currently absent co-hosts of this podcast.
Different responsibilities.
Yes. So they're not here, but they were there, and they saw Richmond get torn apart. And we saw it briefly as well at a bar.
Yeah, and they were quite
which was across the way from the place that sells the best burgers.
Yes, I wonder if you're going to bring that up. That was wonderful.
I forget the name of the place though.
I think it was called the Triple B.
The Triple B.
I think it was Triple B.
Okay. I'll have to fact check that one.
Something like that. We'll figure it out again.
And then we came back on Sunday, just in time to watch the football, and probably could have done with hiding away in Sydney because it wasn't our best performance of the season.
They made up only 3 games. It probably isn't one of our best performances of the past decade.
No. So the second time this year that we've lost to the Suns by 5 points.
I think it's very similar to the... It is 5 points, isn't it? Yeah, it was. I think it's very similar to some of the lethargic performances we put up in 2014, where you sort of expect more and it just didn't happen.
It reminded me of something, but...
Yeah, it reminds me so much, apparently, right now of the round 12 2014 clash against Brisbane at Etihad. I think we lost by about a dozen points, but we just never looked at.
Yeah.
We even let Joel Patfull kick a goal that day.
Joel Patfull?
Yeah.
Who did we let kick goals today? We let Darcy McPherson get a couple.
Yeah. He was good, actually, though. It was actually very for Suns fans, anyways, quite pleasing. For us, it's just a kick to the jaw.
Yes.
Toby Green style. We'll see what happens.
Cool. We should probably look at some of our players, though. Bontempelli was arguably best player on the ground. Certainly a lot of people seem to think so. I think he got the 10 coaches' votes.
Indeed he did.
34 disposals, 0 goals, 3, and 1 out in the full.
2 of those 3 were toughish, launching from out 50.
Mm-hmm.
The third behind, that was, Jesus, that was bad. And the out in the full, I thought, where did that come from?
That was the second quarter, I think. That was also from outside 50.
Wonderful. Yeah, I can picture that now, actually. Yeah. Okay. He's still going to be better than that. We do expect more from the talented Bont. But,
certainly in terms of goal kicking.
But so far, the temple will remain open and we'll be quite pleased.
Hiring goal kicking coaches.
Yes, we're advocates for that, of course.
Jack McRae knows all about scoring goals when the scores are level late in matches.
Indeed,
he did it last week. Sorry, not last week. The week before against the Hawks to level it up, and he did it another time. I'm sure, I just can't quite remember.
Maybe not to level it up, but
no, but
break
scores
the
were
deadlock
level at the time. But yeah, I can't remember it though. He got 33 disposals. He bounced back from a quiet-ish first half, and certainly a very quiet first quarter.
Very quiet.
Tom Liberatore back to his very, very best. 30 disposals.
Probably the only genuine
12 clearances.
Performance. Yeah.
He was superb.
He's averaging third most in clearances this season.
Behind who?
I believe it is definitely Cripps, and for some reason my head's just saying Lockie Neal. It's around the 8.25 range, I think, for Mr. Libber.
Let's have a look at this.
Yep, go to the yellow website.
So he had 8, 6, and 12, so that's an average of
8.67.
Yep, well done.
Yes, thank you. Don't worry, this is a biometric memory or whatever the heck the term is from last night.
Biometric.
I don't know what it is. What is it? Just remembering stuff that is not important, unfortunately. All the time. Oh dear.
They were the only 3 to get over 30 disposals. Not just for us, but for the match.
I don't know with us. We do say what we
overpossess.
I don't think overpossess is the term, because you always want the ball in the right player's hands, and it does get into for us, the ones that we want to have the ball. Just the blink and hurt factor for them is not enough. You know.
Yeah,
there's
you
only
don't get
some
enough
of
value for
it.
it.
And it's the same thing too, which is why it's annoying with Ed Richards at the moment. I want the ball in his hands. He's just not able to find it at the moment.
Yeah.
You know. It doesn't help that he's being played at half forward when he isn't a half forward.
Welcome to the.
But you know, Sam Lloyd was lining up at half backs for most of the game anyway, so that was a bit strange. But what do? We'll see what goes on with it, and we lick our wounds, and probably didn't deserve the 4 points for that match in general.
Definitely didn't deserve it.
And well played to the Suns. I'm pleased for them. I've mentioned to you that I have a soft spot for them.
Yes.
Except against us, but I'm content with how their progress is going, you know. And I found an interesting comment about 3 weeks back from Stephen May for the Suns, saying that the training standards weren't as high as they are at Melbourne. Well, I'm thinking to myself, weren't you a co-captain there? Aren't you meant to be driving those standards?
That's actually a very good point.
And look at them now. Not saying because of the 2-1, but look, they could be 9-3 for all I care.
They should be.
It should be 3-0. Yeah, it should be 3-0. But they could be 9-3. But they're playing a far better style, at least in terms of being able to win games, but able to lock down and not get blown out. They seem more composed. They seem more team orientated. They seem to actually bond better. So, for their sake, I know you can say sometimes better players and what so. I'm glad for them the toxic environment has cleared up. So, for their sake, well done to the Suns.
They've gotten rid of a lot of players, especially in the last couple of seasons.
And
they've brought in a lot of new players.
There's only a few that you would genuinely say that you'd want back. And I'm talking like Prestia, for instance, you know, one that actually gave his all when he was there. I mean, not to say you don't want to have Lynch and Mayback, as of course you'd take him, but some comments you'd be a bit annoyed about.
Yeah.
And the way that they depart.
In terms of goals, he only had 1 multiple goal kicker.
Yes, we did too, didn't we?
See if you can figure out who it was.
Just flip past, mate. It's not Norton. Oh, Dunkley. Oh,
Dunkley.
God.
Dunkley kicked 2. Wallace, Suckling, Gowers, Lloyd, Norton, McLean, Dixon all kicked 1. As I said, Bonampelli kicked 3 behind.
I think Norton another 5 contested marks. Something like that.
Looks right to me, 5 contested marks, including a terrific one.
Which was nominated for Mark of the Week, one of the 3.
It was a great mark.
It was a great mark. And it really starts to beg the question now. He does have that, you know, like how we sometimes mention with players, that they have it. Okay?
Yes.
And he has it. And usually when a player has that word, it, that factor about them, Generally, those are the types that strut themselves at centre half forward or full forward, and that is exactly where he's playing. So the thing is, we know where we want him to play, but I had a good discussion with our mate Trevor Cornwall, a fellow with the interesting questions generally, and about where is it best for Norton, or where's it best for us. For us, at the moment, clearly it's best forward, but where's it best for Norton? I think it's actually coming to the case that it is as a forward.
You reckon? Not in the back line.
I do want him as a defender because I do want to try have an actual spine of Norton, Cordy, whether that's a Bonds or a Liberal, etc., etc., followed by English, and then the Twin Towers, and then Norton again, and the Twin Towers.
So have you got that? Actually, speaking of that cloning machine, have you got that ready yet?
Well, I have done the best of my efforts with a couple of friends of mine, and they're in the process of doing the coding devices.
Okay, good. How ETA?
Probably 3 days. We can do that. We've got enough in time for selection.
Beautiful.
Time for selection.
Good. Okay, good.
It's just difference is that everything will be back to front. So you can handle Norton being a right-footed kick.
Norton Aaron.
Norton Aaron, yes.
I can handle Norton being a.
But the only problem is that it's just a.
I can handle the.
That he won't be a marking machine.
Yeah, I can
he
handle
won't be a goal kicking machine.
Norton Aaron that can't mark but can kick it beautifully.
He kicks it all right at the moment, doesn't he? Though
he's all right at it, and he's also probably the height of Caleb Daniel. So maybe I wouldn't want the anti-Norton. Just an exact replica of the Norton we've got would be great.
All right, I'm sure how that's going to work.
Good. You'll find a way. Speaking of talls, Tim English, does he need help?
Yes, he does. And not from Shaki.
So
not from Dunkley or Jong or
not even Bailey
Daniel
Williams?
Bailey. What's happened to him now? He had 19, I think, and 7 marks in the VFL.
Okay.
Our mate Bailey Williams, the mullet man, former mullet man.
So, what form does this English help him in?
Well, to me, they either 100% bring in Trengrove, and they might have to bring Norton back and then play, say, a Trengrove at forward line, or flip it around, Trengrove down back and Norton forward. For Mason. Yeah, it probably suits for Mason Cox, doesn't he? Trengrove,
you reckon?
Mason Cox. Yeah, at least that's a matchup that's viable.
You'd rather Trengrove on Cox than Norton?
Well, I'd rather the other way around, but the thing is, someone mentioned, well, if you bring Norton down there to play on Cox instead of Cordy, you've changed it from a 25 centimetre differential to a 21 centimetre differential. So is it really that much?
I do not want Cordy on Mason Cox.
No.
I love Zane Cordy, but Cox is going to maul him.
So that's why, for me, Dringo. Down back, chop out there, and then Shaki give a chop out for 5 minutes whenever the ball's forward. And that doesn't mean English goes off. That means English stays on the ground and actually doesn't go ball watching. Or too many times I've seen him even on the weekend, where the ball's down in the back 50 of the Suns and English is still there, not with no one on him, or vice versa. To me, he should be streaming down to the wing or covering a portion of the centre. And he's not even doing that.
Yeah, this is someone who was a midfielder a few years ago. Should have a fairly decent running gait on them.
Yeah, no, disappointing with that. I wasn't pleased with his game. He's been a bit below par the past 3 rounds, but still a work in progress. But yes, he was a midfielder, but for the past 4 or 5 years, he's become a full-time ruck, and that a bit below par from what I'm expecting from a third-year ruckman.
So that's no to a debut for Jordan Sweet, because
Not
there's been
yet.
a little bit of talk about
Not
that.
yet. Maybe after this week, if he needs it. But Sweets is a long way off, in all seriousness. If I'm complaining about English, I'll be definitely complaining about Sweet.
Okay.
That's not a discredit to him. The kid will be fine, but not yet.
Okay. Let's have a look here. I want to make mention of, and I think it's worthwhile, your boy Bailey Smith, looking comfortable out there, 22 disposals, nearly got himself a goal too.
Almost.
Getting better every week?
Yeah, no, I'm liking him. He got pinged, didn't he, for moving 1 step off the mark, or was that 2 weeks ago?
I think that was
this week.
That was 2 weeks ago.
That was 2 weeks ago. Well, it might have happened again. No, I like him. He's a bit of a terrier, but still lots of work to do with the finesse of his game.
But that's okay.
I do think that he follows the contest quite well and he covers ground again quite well, so I'm pleased with that. He's aggressive, moves well, can extract the ball, needs to improve in space, but he's had a pretty handy start for the first 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Gradually getting better. Was it 8, 13, and now 22? I think it was about 13 on a double 13s in the JLT for disposal counts. So, he's going steady. I don't think he'd be locking down a spot in the next couple of weeks when we start to bring back a couple of other players to play a proper structure, etc., etc. But I've seen enough signs to say, yes, he'll be right and probably come in back half of the season again.
Okay. In terms of, we probably need to reevaluate now because we've had our first loss of the year. We were getting carried away the first couple of weeks, queuing up
100%.
grand final tickets.
Indeed.
Is this a blip, or is it a more accurate representation of what we should be expecting from this season?
I actually can't give you a sense. Really annoying because I don't like to do these things. I can't give you a real proper answer on this. For one, it's 3 games. The Swans match we were convincing and then we weren't, but not for long. Hawks game we were the better side, but we still were punished. And then the Suns were able to take it a step further and actually somehow look at ease. They were better than the Hawks were against us. Just the Hawks were more clinical, whereas the Suns were able to hold or withstand a storm better than the Hawks did. And you're not going to say the Suns are a better team than the Hawks, but I don't know. I would probably say that our norm, or from what I'm expecting, is probably the round 1 fourth quarter performance and the round 2 first quarter performance against the Hawks. That's what I'm thinking. The combination of those.
This year?
So from what I expect from us, yep. Round 4, fourth quarter in the first game. What did I say? First quarter in the second game, and then the second quarter of the third game. That is what I'd probably be expecting from us. Whether that's going guns blazing or playing absolutely dismal, but at least they seem
something
more.
In between.
They seem more in.
Do you still? Do you think we can still play finals?
Even without this loss, be very, very tricky. Regardless, but there's some sides that are falling away, which would help us out, and that would have been a nice 4 points to have had, But I think it probably just changes us out from where we weren't too sure where we were going from, having a scope maybe of 6 to 14. Now it's probably narrowed down to 8 to 12. I think.
Okay. So improving a little bit, but maybe not.
Yes,
quite.
To me, it doesn't matter where you're finishing on the ladder exactly. To me, it's if you're playing a precise brand that you can trust, whether it's a crap brand or another one, but that's what you're going to get from them. That to me says a lot more than constant fluctuations or needing to finish top 4 or whatever it is to do something. Some sides need to finish top 4 to do something. Like a Melbourne, like a North Melbourne from a few years back, like an Adelaide. But for us, we probably do know that with this at the moment of this season, but not yet, or not late onwards in the seasons coming.
You spoke about potential changes in the side that could take place this week,
which is really tricky, actually. I think
it's a 5-day turnaround from our AFL to VFL. Obviously, play Friday night against the Pies,
which we're definitely going to still.
Yeah, we're going to win or
both.
Okay.
I think I'm probably a bit more comfortable here. I can probably take a 6-goal loss, but still see it as a positive, depending what we do.
Depending how you lose.
Yeah, exactly. It's how you lose. It's not the win or the loss. It's how you win, how you lose. It can be a 5-point win like the Suns had on the weekend, but I'd be ecstatic if I was them for the way that they were able to go about it.
Yeah. So on Friday night, and there may be a couple of changes given they've had a week off and the AFL team will have only had 5 days break. Round 1 in the VFL, a 43-point win over Sandringham.
It's an our mate.
Good stuff.
our mate Jason was obviously with myself and Brad on the Friday night.
Yes.
But he's now part with Sandringham, and he wouldn't have been too pleased exactly with how the Zebras went about it.
No?
I was half expecting Billings to be there, but no, not to be.
You're a fan of Jack Billings, aren't
100%.
you? He's one of your favourites.
I'm never going to forget that game, because that's all he's done. Other than beat up Carlton a couple of times, that's all he's done. And that's enough for him to probably be one of the Saints' highest paid players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should probably look at some of the better performers.
There were a few.
Tell you who has performed very well in the VFL so far this year. Monica.
Yes, and I want to pick him. I'm now saying, like, yep, you've had 3 good games. Well done, son. And it's predominantly been in along the wing too.
Okay. So yeah, 26 disposals, 8 tackles for Paddy Lipinski, 5 goals. 4 goals for our boy.
Did you say 5 goals?
I said 5 clearances.
I heard goals. I'm thinking, wow, what a game. Doesn't matter.
4 goals for Rourke Smith.
6 marks, I think it was.
21 disposals.
Yeah, good on him.
So
Good on him.
yeah, maybe he can be an AFL footballer after all.
Well,
he must have been playing off half forward as opposed to his usual position half back.
All I know is that at the same time frame with a comparable player in terms of the position, maybe not anymore because now Rourke is a half forward, but he's well and truly ahead. And this is even admitting for not being a brilliant
It sounds like
play.
a big call.
He's well and truly ahead of where Easton Wood was at the same comparable age.
That is a big call. One went on to be a premiership captain.
Yes, but at the same age, Wood had not shown as much in terms of.
Wood had a lot of injuries.
And I liked Wood. I did like Wood. I did.
To contend with early on, though.
As is Rourke.
As has Rourke.
Maybe more serious ones, but injuries regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not saying he's better than Wood, but at the same stage, he's tracking better than him. Even with some very frustrating games last year. Yeah.
Some frustrating games.
You have to remember those 2 knees have probably have not only taken 2 years off him, they've halted his growth.
He actually
4th or 5th year, but he's probably now really a 3rd year footballer.
He admitted to me last year that he doesn't have the confidence in his knees because he was a very athletic, acrobatic sort of player, leaping high for marks and all that. He says he doesn't have the confidence in himself to do that yet. He may just be starting to build that up. Someone who's very comfortable at the VFL level, Will Hayes, 24 disposals. Just another solid game from him. A couple of other youngsters, as we said, Jordan Sweet, 2 goals, 27 hit-outs.
Yep, 9 touches.
Brad Lynch, very quiet. Got himself a goal.
Probably first game back, we'd assume.
Yeah. 14 disposals for Riley West, 17 and a goal for Bailey Dale.
And there's one name I'm wanting you to say.
I'll get to him. I'm saving the best to last. Well, actually, I may not be saving the best to last. Fletcher Roberts, 18 disposals, 5 marks. Callum Porter, still he feels like he's been on our list forever, Callum Porter. 19 disposals and 2 tackles. 8 marks for Lockie Young as well, off the back line. 19 and 7 marks for Bailey Williams. The best one, though, I reckon, 24 disposals and a goal for our boy who's back from a lengthy stint on the sidelines. Well done to Lucas Webb.
I'm happy about that. That's brilliant.
Yep.
No, that's brilliant, seriously.
That's terrific.
It's
really good.
Yeah, that's a pleasing. I know we had the talk of Lee Picken and stuff about his career finishing up, and one player who I thought literally was done due to that injury, and I think our medicos and stuff advised him that it was best. So that's a tremendous effort for him to get back. So well done,
and
Lucas Webb.
And to play so well.
Well done,
also.
Lucas Webb.
Well done, Lucas. That is terrific stuff. He's we may have had his critics in the past. He struggled a little bit at AFL level, but I think that shows a great amount of determination and commitment to the cause to be able to come back from a very serious neck injury, to be in the brace for so long. It felt a bit like a Picken sort of story, in that he was every time you saw him, he was still in the brace. He was still in the brace. Still in the brace, and then one day he didn't have the brace. And then, from there it's just continued to be little steps, and now he's back in the VFL. Back training with the main group and now playing well. So well done to you, Lucas. The boy I think you want to talk about, though, Ryan Gardner.
Yes, we
Is
did.
that the name you wanted to hear?
Yes, we did mention his name last week,
We
I
did.
think.
4 goals.
And he had 11 hitouts.
He did. Now tell me more about Ryan Gardner, because you rated him highly last week.
I didn't expect that. I didn't expect 4 goals.
You suspected that we should bring him in the mid-season draft.
Yes,
replace-
and I believe we
replace
had
the outgoing
looked
picker.
at him. If we had looked at him.
So he's a Geelong boy. He's from Geelong.
Yeah, he's played stuff. He's played there before. Yes, 17 or so games in the combination of VFL and AFL. Blah blah blah. But no, good set of hands. Good size, isn't he? 198, I think he is, and probably definitely touching about 94, 95 keg. So that's very pleasing to see a haul of 4 at any level for us. Because we don't tend to get many of those from our tools. So I like it because potentially, if we want to continue this, and he was a defender at the Cats, if we do want to continue this Norton experiment, wherever this is, say still as a forward, well, Gardner has had the experience of playing as a defender and as a mature age player. And that helps you out there too, if we don't expect Morris to come on as much as he has, or in terms of his injury recovery. And you remember, he is 36ish, so he's not going to, as much as he's a freak, he's not going to be what he is or what he was. So there's different ways to go about planning for things, and if we want to get Norton forward, I think he's the man. If we are to bring him in a mid-season draft,
Okay.
still going to back it up though. But
Yep. Well, we saw Shaki struggle a bit after a 4-goal haul.
I thought he was horrible. I
He
thought
was very quiet.
He didn't do much in round 1, but he wasn't that bad in round 1. But my God, I don't know what the heck happened in the 44 hours or whatever the heck it is, between 172 hours, not even wrong, still wrong, from last week to Sunday. It was just
168.
thank you. It was just miles off it, which is disappointing. Now, what is he, fourth year, so still a bit of work to do. And
Still time.
as much as our mate with us on the city trip too, John was saying, and that's his name anyways, he was saying that he doesn't rate Shaki too highly, and I gave Shaki some defence, and then he comes out 4 hours later and puts that up. So, bugger.
I give I've got plenty of time for Shaki. He's
Plenty of
21.
time. Plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
Mm.
Plenty of time for him to turn it around. With those changes, although with potential changes, what changes could you see? Bear in mind, there is a certain Norm Smith medalist that's due to return to the senior side. You expect he should come straight back in.
Walks.
And there's another almost Norm Smith medalist due to return to the VFL side as well, in Tommy Boyd.
We know Jong is coming back. We know there's one more name that's just slipped past me.
So some Bulldog royalty there.
Who is it? So there's Tringo. That's it. So those are the 4 probables this week for any form of football. Tringo, JJ, Boyd, and Jong.
So there's 2 AFL premierships, 2 VFL premierships, a Norm Smith medalist and a Norm Goss medalist. And Tringo is. If you take away Tringo, you still have all of those accolades there.
You have a equal best and fairest.
A John Cahill medalist. Yes.
Yep.
That's true.
That's what we've got. So there we go.
That's true. So how many changes there? Because bear in mind there may be some players from who played last week in the VFL who may come back in as well. So how many changes could we see be made this week?
That's part of the problem. The ones that I want in, I don't want to take out too many, but you might have to. The ones that you might think about taking out, you need to give them a little bit more faith or give them a bit more time.
Well, Johannesson definitely comes in.
He walks in.
So there's at least one change that has to be made.
Definite.
And then you probably want to bring in Trengove as well.
I personally do.
Well, there's 2 changes. Let's cap it at that. I doubt John is going to play AFL.
But I do want to bring in Monica. There's 3, but I can't think of 3 out. And this sounds like sacrilegious here for you especially. But I'm thinking Press Red Fred is in slight trouble.
You reckon?
Probably does need a slight breather, even though he hasn't not exactly need a breather as such, but just
He wasn't.
second year blues. But it's not because of that I'm dropping him. I don't think he's been horrible, but Just
Okay.
can't get him involved, and I don't want to drop him, seriously.
Well, I don't think you want, and it kind of feels weird. You're bringing in another tall, but I don't think we can afford to drop any of the current talls we've got in the set.
That's the thing. That's a weird thing. And that's what I'm thinking. Not thinking, bloody heck, what am I doing?
Thinking.
With
What
English,
are you thinking about?
that's what I'm thinking. With English, I would probably do a straight swap.
What about Lewis Young?
Didn't do anything wrong. Bit of work still to go, but I'm happy with him. Ideally, I'd love to have all three of them down back with Cordy, Young, and Norton, but we'll see.
Okay.
That makes us a bit too slow, maybe.
Jure stays in?
Give him a couple more games. It was pretty reasonable. He's been all right, man. He's been
yeah,
all right.
okay.
He's been all right. I know what you mean, but
he's
yeah.
been okay. He's been. I saw him in the St Kilda match. He was terrible. He's been better than that in the first 3 games, so I'll give him some credit there. He's been passable. Hasn't been the recruit of the year, but I don't think you'd drop him based off what he's done. I don't think he's been too bad. But you look at some of the names that played on the weekend, you wouldn't think to drop many of them.
No, that's the thing. So now this is the tricky part.
Which is a shame because we're looking a little ordinary, and this is as close to the best team as we're going to get. Everyone's fit, just about, apart from Morris.
And that's part of the thing too. As much as I love Bailey Smith, he isn't the best 22 player. At the moment he is, but he isn't at the moment, genuinely.
But I mean, to drop him after he's...
No, I don't want to. That's the thing. I don't want to drop him for those things because he's biding his time well. But there are some players that you probably do need to do a call up for, and the other player that I'm really fearing for, even though he was hyped up with a great round 1 performance, I think it was that brilliant, but I thought it was good nonetheless. The captain.
You wouldn't drop him.
No, but I really do feel that, and again, this now sounds sacrilegious to a particular friend of ours. Should be probably wanting to
I hear she's gone off Eastern a touch.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll see. But yeah, I do think his position will be under question probably by the end of the season.
As a captain?
As a 22 player.
Really?
And you can see sort of why now it's starting to come to me why Beveridge made the move of Eastwood centre half forward, to add more strings to his bow because he hasn't been what he was for a while now. And they're trying to find a place, not this year, but they've been trying to find a place for him to fit. And it hasn't happened, or it hasn't worked.
Do you think that ankle injury he had in 2016 has been holding him back since? Do you reckon he's still carrying effects from that?
But he did it again in late 2017 too, and he never was proper, throughout the whole 2017 season. But I don't think you can keep laying back from stuff from 3-4 years ago. Well, not 4 years ago, but 3 years ago. As much as some of it might be there, but should be.
You don't think, but you don't think, or you do think that he was given the opportunity to recover from it?
Not a proper chance, no. Good enough chance, but not proper. I just think that with also some of the players that we've got in, such as the like of Jure, such as Crozier, Bailey Williams, and all these others
to come back in.
But the ones that play that particular role, they've now restricted him from playing that role of intercept and stuff, and now he's a lockdown, which is not what he does.
Yeah.
But then again, there's a player this week that actually fits him. Mr. Jordan DeGoey. So we'll see. I'll give him up to the task for that.
Big call for someone who you think might not be in the team.
No, I don't think he needs to work it out seriously, though.
Okay. So but your 2 changes just based off what I've got are Johannesson for Richards and Trengo for English.
That one I'm comfortable with. The Richards one I'm not. The English one I am. Just some things, and not saying I like what he's going to do, he'll be fine, but just right now he needs a little kick up the backside.
Who? English?
I think so.
Okay. We should probably move over, because we've spoken about AFL, we've spoken about VFL, we need to speak about AFLW now, because that's been pretty big in the last couple of days, especially our captain, Katie Brennan, off to the Tigers. That's done. completely done. Libby Birch requesting a trade to Melbourne.
Do you know much about that?
All I know is that Melbourne have to put forward a deal that
Yeah,
satisfies us.
We're actually going to get a trade in our favour. What is this?
We'll probably accept a future fifth rounder.
I'll take a player coming back. I'd like us to be aggressive.
Daisy Pearce or no deal?
100%, yeah, sure. No, I'd like us to be aggressive in that regard. We're not too aggressive ever, but, you know.
What are your thoughts on that? There's been a lot about the Brennan deal. This is probably the bigger one. Libby Birch played in the Premiership, I believe so. She did, yeah, she did. Brennan did not, which there was much fanfare about at the time.
For the right reasons. For the right reasons, there was much, because it was just a disgraceful decision.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this decision on her part to go to Richmond?
I respect anyone and everyone that wants to better themselves. This is in any industry. I mean, you're not going to tell your cousin or whoever the heck it is, yes, don't turn down a $30,000 pay rise or whatever the heck sum it was, because you're not going to do that. You're not going to turn that down. So, for one, on a monetary basis, don't blame her. Not going to begrudge that, because I probably would do the same thing for any club.
Apparently, in terms of what Richmond were offering compared to what we were offering, there wasn't much difference.
No, they can't legally do that. There's still only the tier 1 is set as it is, and the tier 2s and the 3s are set as it is.
So, in terms of a pay rise, she hasn't gone for that.
However, not in terms of they don't have a salary cap, or do they?
They don't have a salary cap.
So just in terms of marquee wage.
However, in terms of third-party payments, that is virtually limitless.
It is the worst thing in the comp, in any comp. I hate it.
So she could have, I believe she's got
Seriously.
some sort of like a car
Puma
deal, or even some sort of car deal or something. I can't remember. I've only read it from somewhere. Can't be completely sure.
No, we've
so
got Mercedes. We've got Mercedes.
Yeah, so I don't want to say anything and say it with great conviction and believe that it's definitely true. But there is a deal, at least one in place, and those payments are limitless. Clubs, companies can arrange that for players and have players receive that on top of their club salary.
And that's why the AFL, which to me doesn't even take the AFLW serious at all, needs to implement a cap. Otherwise you keep having these things. I mean, how it was, I'm not saying that they needed to not expand, but how it was 5 years ago when it was just the two sides, which there shouldn't have been only two sides in the first place, but those collectively, both the sides were put up with absolute peak talent. Dogs and the D's had every...
Yeah, they were the 40 best female players in the country.
Yeah.
But then 40 suddenly has to be stretched across 8 teams, and what's that, 20 times 8 to 160, you've got extras in the reserves, and you've probably got about 240 players.
And the list sizes aren't tremendously large.
No, but
they don't
you're spreading like a very shallow talent pool across 8 teams. And then what we saw this year, we saw the level of the quality of women's football go up.
It did indeed, but it could have gone up if they allowed it to actually grow at a natural rate. Yeah. It could have gone up a lot further and quicker.
Yeah.
Instead, now, as much as they're growing it, but the growth to me, as much as it will grow, it's at a very slow rate.
Yeah.
It's like
they're expanding the competition quicker than the
growth of tournaments.
The quality of players are growing, or the numbers of quality of players. So what we've got now is we saw the quality go up last year in terms of the
how many teams
number
have
of players.
Four that have come in. West Coast, they come in because
two teams.
Is it 2? So why is it that I've heard about West Coast? Who are the teams? Richmond and
I thought it was Gold Coast.
Yeah, Gold Coast have got a side.
I've only heard of those.
Just double check. But apparently they're talking with the Eagles outlet that they're going to use all 8 of their acquisitions to come from one particular club alone. And the clubs that for us now, the Victorian sides, we're set to lose 4 each. I believe Adelaide is set to lose 4 each, provided they lose 4. Brisbane and Fremantle, because they have access to other prospects via their academies, they're now set to lose up to 8 players. And the interesting thing is that I believe West Coast is a new side, they're set to take 8 players from Fremantle. And that can be 8 of their very best players. And then you destroy the Fremantle Dockers Women's Football Club straight away off that back.
Okay, so joining next year,
Thank you.
Richmond, obviously, Gold Coast, West Coast, and St Kilda.
So it is the 4, yep. So it is. To me, that's wrong. It shouldn't be 4.
Well,
It
that'll
should
be
be 2.
14 teams. So who will be left?
2.
Who will be left without Port Adelaide? Will
Hawthorn,
be teamless.
Essendon,
Hawthorn, Essendon.
Sydney.
Now, the other thing with this is that you look at teams like the Bulldogs
And
Melbourne, who took a gamble on this. Let's be honest, because there was no guarantee this was going to be a success. Took a gamble on it. It's paid off. You've now got a very successful national women's competition, an elite level of women's football. And what's happening is these pioneers, these people that took the gamble and have seen it ultimately pay off, are getting punished by the new teams who are being rewarded for arriving late to the
Reaping
party
the benefits.
by getting to cherry pick the best players from the other teams.
Mm.
That's what annoys me most about this.
It's the same thing too when the men's expansion sides came in. This is any expansion side. To me, if you've been poached 1 year, you should be untouched the next. But that's not the case, of course, because I'm thinking, I haven't seen too many clubs like Adelaide in the women's thing have their players taken off them.
No.
And it's trickier because here you've got Victorian clubs, and it's more Victorian clubs now coming in. And
They can
where's
just
the
go
main market
between
from?
Victorian.
Where's the main market
clubs,
from?
yeah.
From the Victorian clubs. And that makes sense, because you're going to poach from where you can.
Yeah.
But my God, they're making it a free for all. How much can, for instance, with us, for Brendan, was it only a 1 year deal we were able to only offer? Because they've also got rolling 1 year contracts.
I'm not sure
who the
what
heck does that?
I'm not sure what the deal was regarding our offer for Brennan. All I know is that she was after a fresh start. I struggle to buy that. Personally, I struggle to buy that. I do struggle all the time with players moving clubs and their reasoning. I always find it very flawed, especially when you've got someone like Tim Kelly. It's an example of wanting to go home. But he only wants to go home to West Coast. He doesn't want to go home to
This
Fremantle.
year he's now changed tack. But
last year,
yes.
what was wrong with Fremantle?
I agree. If you're that desperate,
If you wanted to go home, what was wrong with going home to
I agree.
Fremantle?
I know I agree with that entirely, and I had no issues with what the Cats did.
Yeah. Now this one's very different because it's not a case of wanting to go home. It's just a case of wanting a seed change. But 13 games in 3 seasons, just 13 games, and especially given what we did for her during the build up to the grand final and the distractions that may have come about as a result for the players that actually did play that day, and then within a year she's off. I just am not comfortable with it.
To me, I'm big here, and I think a lot of Australians in sport are very big on the loyalty aspect. The fans appreciate it very much.
Nothing
US,
better
no
than a
one
fan
cares.
that spends their whole career or a player that spends their whole career at one club. Look at players. There's plenty from where we come from. Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Chris Grant,
Yes,
West Smith, Gene Siracusa,
Mm-hmm.
Matty Boyd, Liam Pickett.
Now I'll change your tact. Nathan Brown.
Yep.
Will go to
Sean Higgins.
Sean Higgins. Will go to Griffin. And Cooney was a bit different.
Cooney was different.
But those three, and then you
Yep.
change your perception entirely.
Yeah, you change Callan Ward to a lesser extent, but still.
Harbrow,
Harbrow,
they go my
yeah.
blessing. Those two, that's different from the Brennan situation, in my opinion. Those two guys, they got literally a deal of a lifetime. You're not going to turn that down.
No.
And
Brendan got paid
they
the
didn't
exact same
exactly-
amount of money
yeah.
to just move
Yeah.
across town.
yeah, they didn't exactly earn the right to leave. Those two, but you're going to be nuts if you're going to tell them
But
otherwise.
that's a very interesting point you make about the way we see players. And I wonder how differently we may have viewed someone like Chris Grant had he left.
I don't think we would have viewed him in a bad way at all.
You don't think?
We would have been very annoyed. But again, you're a premier player of the comp. You've been, again, offered a Godfather deal. These are different contexts of what you can and can't offer.
That's very interesting. So
to me, I don't think there's anything.
You group Brennan in that category, the Nathan Brown, Sean Higgins.
Again,
Griffin.
this is nowhere near to the money that they've got, but that's just
obviously
because
relatively.
I don't think this is weird because I didn't like the Brown decision, but he earned the right more to leave than what Brennan did. Because at least Brown was able to do something.
Yeah.
For he was a 2 or 3 time leading goal kicker, AA in 02 and 03 maybe.
He kicked. I don't think he was AA in 03, but he kicked 50 odd
he
goals.
Kicked 57 goals
in a side that finished last.
Kicked another 50 odd the year before. Got at least 30s and 40s in the other. It annoyed the crap out of me. And my father at the time when I was only 7 or whatever. My dad was furious. But they're right to me. There's a difference with it.
You give your all for the club and you actually get results for that club.
And that's what I'm talking about too with the Suns. The players that have departed the Suns, the only one that I can generally think of them that they'll actually welcome back with loving arms is Dion Prestia. He left them, but he put his all in. Compared to Jago Mira, I'll play 2 years for you. Tom Lynch did put it all in.
Stephen May.
I'm annoyed. I'm more just annoyed about them departing, not the fact that they didn't deserve to leave.
Stephen May the same?
Well, he had a year in his contract to run, so I'm a bit annoyed more about that.
Josh Caddy?
Didn't want to go there in the first place. Mm-hmm. And they held him back, so, yeah. But, Aaron Hall didn't fit. Even though he probably didn't do much wrong there, but he didn't fit what they wanted, or for what Jew wanted.
Gary Ablett.
I can let it slide very slowly. I can let it slide.
He gave just about all he could for that guy, I think. Yeah. I think he had
the right to go. Just annoyed with the fact that he did go. Because, you're happy to get paid whatever it was, and even have a new deal and then leave mid-contract. No. You leave when the club allows you to, and they were allowed to get what they wanted for that. So, compared to Jago Mira, I'll play 2 years for you. I'll be injured for 2 years with a knee injury, which is very, very serious, that not many can fix up and has ruined careers. And he leaves for a paycheck after his 4th year. So I'm thinking that's why I've got very little respect for him compared to the way. It's the way you leave.
It's the way you live, yeah.
Joel Hamling, we say, God bless you. The way he didn't play a lot for us, but he didn't do much wrong in his time.
We gave him a chance. He tried his heart out when he was with us. He was very good. He won us a flag. He and he's home. Not his reasons. I think he's turned
into a very, very good footballer. At the time, he wasn't seen as a high caliber player.
A role player, rather.
Yeah, seen more as a role player, and he's got a great deal, which apparently we near enough matched.
Well,
near enough matched.
I think we could tell that he had something different about him. I miss him. He's a great player.
We do too.
Before we go, I don't know if you've got any questions from any fans this week. I've got one.
Oh, do you?
Yes, I do. From a fella called Jason James. Would one of you get the Johannesson haircut? That's the question.
I think it's probably me's the more likely one. But
which Johannesson haircut?
That's good.
There's been a few of them. There's the Odell Beckham Jr. look. There's the Norm Smith medal-winning look. There's also the Nathan Eagleton look as well. Had that one for a very brief period of time.
I don't think I'm ever going to do that one because how much that I just can't be bothered with haircuts and.
I don't think I could pull it off.
Stuff.
I don't think I could pull it off.
I couldn't see you have that and wear a suit. I couldn't.
Don't wear a suit. I need to work.
I couldn't do it. I could probably get something to that extent. I mean, I've thought about, a rat's tail.
Do you reckon you could do a rat's tail?
I probably could.
I could see it, I reckon.
I'd be terrified, but I probably could.
So, no. I think the answer is neither of us are going for the Johannesson haircut.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Might get our friend Jason onto it. He'd probably be keen.
Brad
Plays the J. Brad's got the JJ haircut.
He does a little bit. Yeah, got the balding buzz cut. He's I reckon he could do it.
Well, he's done it. There you go. That's our.
But with the Odell Beckham Jr., that's next on the list. I think the evolution of Johannesson, and then finish it off with what he looked like in the grand final, because that looked pretty good. He's gone back to that look now. There was a nice story about that on Fred in the Cage a couple of weeks ago. But we better wrap that up there for another week. It's been a productive episode. I think it's been good considering what a terrible weekend it was. I think we've ended it a little bit better. I think we're feeling a little bit better about ourselves and where the football team stands, where we stand. We're still fifth, Nick.
Yes, we are.
So if the season finished today, we'd be playing in an elimination final against. Drumroll, please.
Actually, I don't even know. Who would be playing?
Port Adelaide.
Dixon!
Which one?
Oh, God.
Also, before we go, 100th game for Tory Dixon this week.
And they did mention a bit about it as a conference yesterday or such, so you can expect, even if he was a little bit off, he will be playing.
Wonderful.
Premiership
With
player,
the 5-day Premiership break. Hero. One of the best kicks for goal we've ever seen. We really look forward to it. Hopefully he puts on a show for us.
16 goals and 6 MCG games.
Liking this a lot. But we better wrap it up there. Nick, thank you for joining me.
3 in grand finals.
Thank you for joining me, Nicholas. I don't know if you can hear me over there. Thank you to all of you, wherever you are around the world, for listening in. We look forward to having you. Seeing you on Friday night. Member replacement game. Make sure you get down there. But until then, it's goodbye from us at the Salty Bulldog.